Final word, day 3, Adelaide Oval. Adam Collins and Geoff Lemon today when Australia really took the game completely away from England. Geoff, tell us all about it in 30 seconds.
It was a shambles for England. Again, big partnership between Root and Milan, 138, and then everyone else got out immediately. 8 for 86, the collapse. They were hopeless. They got bowled out. Mitchell Stark's got 50 wickets in day-night tests. Australia 45 for 1 at the close. Didn't enforce the follow-on, and they're 282 ahead.
I've got to say, first session of day 3, Geoff, England were doing things that made me ponder what might be possible in a few hours from now. Well, look, if they take their partnership, which at that stage was well over 100, and I think it was 128 at lunch. If that's 228 by tea, then we have a very different test match. Instead, they lose 4 for 57 in the middle session. They lose their next 4 wickets, their last 4 wickets for 34. All told, the collapse, I think, was 8 for 78, maybe 8 for 76, something like that. All out 236. Instead, the only question we really had was, will Stephen Smith enforce the follow-on? It's deja vu from 4 years ago. Now we're into what will essentially be junk time runs. Australia runs up the clock, takes time out of the game tomorrow before the inevitable declaration, and so it goes. And it's a shame because I feel like England weren't far away from writing a different script, but Australia, they've been served well by regrouping through this series already. Intervals have treated Australia well and England poorly.
I'm aware that we have an audience for this show that is both Australian and English, and we try to serve them both. We've tried to be upbeat about England at times, but maybe people who follow England need to hear this today because they'll be feeling the same. They were bloody hopeless again. The same as they were in Brisbane. I didn't have any optimism because when Root and Milan were batting, I thought, great, they're going well. Once this partnership finishes, there is every chance they fall over exactly as they did at Brisbane, and that is exactly how it played out. There seem to be 2 players in the team who can bat. Let me give you some numbers on this. 30 English wickets have fallen in the series, right? So 30 partnerships have taken place for England. Partnerships involving Joe Root and David Milan, 2 partnerships. They've made 300 runs at the cost of 2 wickets. Everybody else, 380 runs for 28 wickets. That is the dire situation. That is how desperately poor the batting has been. Jos Buttler, terrible again. Ben Stokes tried to hang around for a while but sort of couldn't do much and eventually got out having a slog. I mean, Chris Woakes at number 8 is the batting success of the test match so far. Well, he's got 3 for 182 so far in the series, but at least he's making 24 at number 8. They're a rabble at the moment, and I don't see how they're going to get better.
I think we can zero it down to 2 dismissals. One is Ollie Pope, out again to Nathan Lyon. Never looks like he had a way against Nathan Lyon. I appreciate why he was using his feet, but I mean, last ball of the over, they bring in the leg slip. He's boxed in, and he's thinking, this is the time I'm going to dance down. Having been reprieved by the third umpire, no more than 3 deliveries before it, albeit a ball that hit his elbow. But still, it was a false stroke there, caught it short leg. Labuschagne, fantastic reflex catch to make it count the second time. So, Pope, massive question mark whether he has the game that can last against Nathan Lyon. And you can guarantee every time Ollie Pope walks out for the rest of the series, Nathan Lyon is bowling the next over in much the same way. Whenever Darryl Cullinan walked out, Shane Warne bowled the next over. And then Jos Buttler.
But can I also ask, how can you be an English right-hander who can't play off-spin? Isn't that the most fundamental, basic thing of batting that you need to be able to do?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure it's about the off-spin. I think it's about the overspin. But I take your point. He plays at a test venue at the Oval. He averages 99.94, would you believe, at the Oval at first-class level. We know he's a sprightly type and can make runs productively for England. It's just something right now, this exact juncture, there's a technical flaw. He looks scattered at best, and they have to work that out immediately or leave him out for the next test match. As for Jos Buttler, I suppose when it rains it pours. He dropped that crucial catch on night 1. I think he faced
the other one.
And the other one, yeah, that's right. And then 17 balls where the plan, Mike Atherton was on our broadcast, and like he set it up perfectly in the summariser chair. He's like, well, what they're trying to do here is bowl across him, bowl across him, bowl across him, short cover, 2 slips of gully, and play the patience game, play the waiting game. Wait till he tries to flay one out through the covers. Lo and behold, Stark gets one right in that channel, which he was aiming for. Buttler does precisely what Australia were waiting for, and then the catch goes straight into the cordon, and so it goes. And how debilitating must that be for England, seeing such an overt plan and for such a senior player to walk straight into it when Stark was probably bowling the 6th over of a 7-over spell. Had he seen him out, it could have been a different story, but that's that repeated red ball experience, which in recent years Buttler, with the exception of when he plays for England, doesn't have.
And so it all comes back to riding on that first partnership. Root out for 62, David Milan 89.
80 even.
Yeah,
80 even. Yep.
After Root made 89 in the first match. So it's a bit unfair to focus on them, given that the others didn't help, but those two also got out, didn't make hundreds in Brisbane, didn't make hundreds here, didn't go really big when they could have done. Root got out to Cameron Green again, who bowled a really good spell to him after the second break. 3 overs. He was quick, he was getting serious lift, and he was just on off stump again and again and again. And Root glided one boundary through the slip cordon for 4 along the ground, and then he tried to do it again. Green got a little bit of movement away, that takes the edge to second slip. And then David Malan plays that back cut to Mitchell Starc, tries to repeat it again the next ball. Bang, into the cordon. So they both got themselves out in a way by not being able to, I guess, be patient enough with the bowling.
Yeah, and that intersects with another story. It's Australia's catching. 2 sharp takes from Smith, the acting captain, in the cordon. 1 of 3 that he snaffled today. Australia have now dropped 1 catch. So Mitchell Starc in the gully, diving away
off
to
Green.
his left.
So Green's normally in the gully, but Starc went in with the wingspan and he knocked it up. And Smith also knocked it up and couldn't quite hang on the rebound.
Yeah, it wasn't quite Miller Tavare in terms of what was on the line at the time, but you kind of get the idea of what sort of catch or drop it was. Until that point, Australia had taken 23 catches, hadn't put down 1, and you can pick your own number and choose your own adventure a little bit on how many catches England have dropped, but conservatively, roughly 8, and that's been a big difference. And Geoff, you detailed that yesterday about the fundamentals and the basics that England are struggling so with at the moment. But Green, just to reloop back on your point there, a guy who can swing it away from the right-hander at 145 clicks, 5 wickets in this series at 10.4, which includes bouncing out Pope, nicking off Root twice and getting out Ben Stokes when he was just about to start smacking some bombs. I mean, it wouldn't have been that influential. They wouldn't have passed the follow-on mark anyway, but, you know, we've seen what Ben Stokes can do to this Australian attack when he gets on top before. He brought that to a halt as soon as he came back into the attack. So Green may not be making runs, but, he's making a contribution.
Yep, he's, all he needs to do is get Joe Root out. If that's the only thing you're doing, that's enough, because that brings on a collapse. I mean, that's the most important wicket anyway. They would have taken that even if other players were making runs. If you could say, I'll get Joe Root out every innings, well, that's all you need to do in the Test match.
Yeah, that's right. And just reinforcing your point before as well, that I thought before dinner, Malan and Root kind of did everything right. They didn't give a chance before the long break. They batted the way you should bat when there's not a cloud in the sky and a flat pitch. They made Australia work extremely hard. They added 123 runs in the session. I mean, you know, that's a lovely set of numbers for a team with a lot of pressure when they arrived this morning. I made this point on the commentary. It feels like David Malan doesn't have the same sort of pressure, doesn't deliver the same sort of pressure to Joe Root that Root has when he's batting with the rest of his team. That feels like it feels like an ongoing challenge for players in the England lineup who aren't Joe Root, with the exception of Malan, who's 34 years of age. He's kind of his own man, you know. He's been around the world a couple of times or maybe more. He's seen the sights and had delights on many foreign shores. A T20 player primarily, but that's why he's in this team, because he's a solid head on what is now a pretty experienced body.
So what is the plan, as it seems from here, will be they're already 280 ahead. They'll just bat 2 sessions tomorrow in order to rub it in, make England's bowlers do more work. Quick turnaround for Boxing Day, quick turnaround for Sydney, quick turnaround for Hobart. Just try to wear them out as much as possible. Declare in the evening, put them in, have 2 evening sessions at them over the next 2 days if necessary, and have 4 sessions to bowl them out. And the only thing England will be able to do at that point is try to bat 4 sessions and save the Test.
That'll be the script. Geoff, with that in mind, it's time for us to do a couple of things. First of all, we're going to have the ZOLEO Hall of Fame. Geoff, tell us all about ZOLEO again, please.
Okay, magic satellite device turns your smartphone into a satellite phone. So you could be at the North Pole and you want to send a text message to Outer Mongolia, and you can. You can text anyone in the world from anywhere in the world, anytime, and you can win one for free with a year's subscriptions worth $1,000 in the show notes below this episode. Click the link, fill in the survey, bang, ZOLEO.com.
ZOLEO. Okay, the Hall of Fame, where we pick the most final word moment of the day. Geoff, I'm going to handball this to you today.
I think for me, maybe it's this incredibly loud trolley that's rattling behind us at the moment. But it was getting out of the press box and having a walk around in the evening as Mitchell Starc was bowling. I got to go and stand behind the bowler's arm, watch the skies soften and turn pastel, watch the idiots being idiots, watch the English yell at the Australians and the Australians yell at the English. Everyone was having a lovely time down there. And it felt so bucolic and so far away from all these stories from the rest of the world where everything is terrible. But for a moment here in Adelaide, everything was good.
I probably should throw the comedy run out in at the end as well. I'm not quite sure whose fault it was, Warner or Harris. I think Punter said it was Warner, so we'll go with that. It's best not to disagree with Ricky Ponting. We've learnt across the journey, but that'll be my nomination for the day, and that might be where
Also Warner not turning back, because had he just turned back and put his bat in, he would have scorched Harris, and maybe that's the end of Harris's Test career. I wonder if Warner thought, I can afford to get a cheap run out here and he can't.
I'd like to believe that. That's how I want to evaluate that run out. You know what? That's probably where we should draw a line under the final word today. Day 3 at Adelaide. Gorgeous day, gorgeous ground. A day when Australia truly pressed home their advantage. If you like what we do, follow it all in the show notes. Adam Collins, Geoff Lemon. We'll be back tomorrow. Night.